Okay, so that was a quick showcase of how I cleared my 8 mod corrupted T16s. It's a really easy map to be fair. I'm just running it to farm some ziggurats for the build. Let me pause the music in the background as well. So yeah, pretty good. I think the build has gotten through a couple changes, not a lot of many changes to be honest. Um, I'll go over what I've done. I upgraded my axe. I now have the chosen mod for it. It now has the where is it? Yeah, the suffix of the order, dex int, increase attack speed, so that now I can craft physical damage over time multiplier. It's a 770p DPS axe now, up from 743. We can, I think, push to potentially 790 or 800. I need to you get the suffix, the prefix is perfect. The increased physical damage needs to go up to 179. Um, and then after that, I need to change the tailoring or tempering orb enchantment on it to go from 8% explicit physical modifier magnitudes to go to this. We are looking for hopefully this one, the explicit physical modifier increased for at the cost of 25% reduced crit. That would be the best one. This one technically would be the best, but it will require us to do a lot of fixing in terms of our attributes. I could probably get away with using Supreme Ostentation if I use this, but it would be a little irritating to try and fix that. So we'll try and settle for one of these. This would be the best case scenario, and I think that'll let the axe potentially push to 790 PDPS, assuming the prefixes are also good. Um, yeah, so why did I do the Dex and Int? Well, I can now equip Awakened Increased AoE now that I have 128 int. Awakened Increased AoE has been really nice to put on the Leap Slam. So the map I was even running was reduced AoE, but if you go over here, you could see every time I Leap Slam, now if I Leap Slam right here, we could see how far the Leap Slam goes, and without the Awakened Increased AoE, the Leap Slam AoE is not as big. So it's like, yeah. So if we just Leap Slam in place, yeah, it doesn't really go as far versus how much more area we can cover. So I've been enjoying having the Awakened Leap Slam for clearing. I took off my Blood Rage from automation because I want to be able to take the reduced life recovered blue altar quant when I'm doing my harvests in tier 17. Um, and I'm trying to maximize as much quant as I have. Which is also why I want to go over why I'm so overcapped on cold and lightning res. One of the blue altars you'll encounter is one that says reduced or minus of cold and minus lightning resistance, and it goes up to I think minus 55, sometimes minus 60, and I just want to be able to take that because being able to take that lets me get more quant, and more quant is good, especially because I think this weekend I think the yellow juice was 4,000 no divine, so yeah, it's even better now. So you just want to keep spamming this. Honestly, I think it might even be better than ambush right now. I'm not. Don't quote me on that, because ambush I know can be very gambly. But there are a lot of variations, right? If you get unlucky with your yellow juice, you will obviously lose money on tier 17 harvests. So yeah, right now I've just been farming for some ziggurats so that I can keep farming them. I really like the ziggurat layout, and ziggurat has the reality fragment, this one, and the devouring fragments. Those are the most common drops in ziggurat, and like I think these are very expensive at the moment to farm. Yeah, so I just like farming ziggurat specifically for that. It's good money. Um, yeah, same thing. So I think ziggurat's probably the best layout. Fortress is also good, straightforward. Yeah. Anyway, so I know people have been asking me to make a step-by-step guide on how I leveled the character, so I'm gonna go on ahead and do that. I'll also go over the enchants that we want to use on the weapons. So yeah, let me pull up the POB. So let's start with the Premier Veil tree. Yeah, so we'll start off as a duelist from level 1 to 12. Uh, at level 12, we get Sunder, and we're going to switch to that. But in the meantime, we're just going to use the Splitting Steel, Momentum, Faster Attacks, Enduring Cry, Leap Slam, faster attacks, frost blink, level 1. We're gonna have our vitality, envy, and spectral wolf. We can put on these because we can put them on the runesmithing table. Any one-handed axe. Sorry, where is it? And then you do envy and wolf. So this is an insane combo. Just really cheap. I think the envy that it grants is actually level 10. And this will pretty much carry your leveling. It will take you all the way through the end game. So you can literally keep these, I think, until you're done with maps if you want to use it. But we're gonna be switching off from that pretty quickly in our build. Gold, we are okay. I'm gonna do the god under the assumption that we are all making our new characters, right? Um, so we're gonna do gold rim, 1,000 ribbons, locked in the caress, level 1, 7 league steps for 50% movement speed, and blackheart iron rings. These are super good. If we're gonna do this on next league start, we're just not gonna have any of these, and we're just gonna use like normal rings and everything else. But yeah, we're under the assumption that we are using these. So yeah. For amulet, you could do the Karui ward as well. If you want to use the Karui ward. But yeah, that's the Premier Veil. And again, like we're just gonna put on flat fizz, increased attack speed. Our own damage doesn't really matter as long as we kill enough mobs and we have the wolf. The wolf will kill everything for us. Like these things do a ton of damage. Oh, sorry, I don't have my D&D on. Let me put that on. For after we hit level 12, we're going to then put on Sunder. Oh, sorry, let me do that correctly. We're going to put on our Sunder. Sunder, we have Sunder, melee fizz, pulverize, chance to bleed. We have our leap slam, faster attacks, frost blink on. We're gonna do this all the way to normal lab. We have our war banner, more duration, main blade storm. These are not mandatory. Like none of these are mandatory. Like you can add these whenever you feel comfortable. This I would say is mandatory. Vulnerability mandatory. We're gonna get Herald of Purity in Act 2, and we're gonna have our Vitality, and we're gonna use both. Blood Rage you don't have to activate yet if you don't have the life regen or the life leech to equip it. Steel Skin, probably better in overall. Enduring Cry, Urgent Orders. We do want to level our Pride, but please don't activate it yet. You don't want your Pride to be activated. You don't have the auras. We also no longer use we will be no longer using the Envy because we are switching to Herald of Purity. And again, we're using the same. We're gear setup here. We can put on a Belt of the Deceiver at level 20. We can even put on our Slothos at level 20. Um, but that might be a little expensive for some, so we're gonna assume that we're just gonna use the Belt of the Deceiver. Belt of the Deceiver also gives us phys damage and all res, so that helps us a lot with leveling. We're gonna keep 7 league steps. The Youp of All probably the best in slot while leveling. Yeah, because you get all that, all attributes, all res, all that stuff. Our tree is gonna look something like this. We will continue on from the level 1 to 12 section. We're gonna path up to here, grab some bleed nodes here, here, and then we're going to go all the way here to this section. We want to get Resolute Technique as early as we can so that we no longer miss. We have more bleeding nodes, life nodes, and axe damage nodes since we're using axes. Um, After normal lab, you should try to switch on to your Lacerate with hemorrhage, and it wouldn't affect our clear too much because we're still using the wolves to do most of the damage. We're gonna put on our Cruel Lab gear around this section. Um, we're going to start getting endurance charges. We have our axe nodes. We also go from gratuitous violence to jagged technique here so that our bleeds are aggravated, which is our enemies count as moving. We grab the physical damage over time multiplier and grab the more max phys attack damage. We get more endurance charges here. We switch to blood magic and we get bleeding you inflict deals damage faster here. This helps us cap a res, cloth and chain. So just very good. Endurance charge. And once we go to the skills, we see we have Lacerate of Hemorrhage now, linked with melee fizz, volatility and brutality. Leap slam, groundbreaking, faster attacks, chance to bleed. Be switched to here as well so that we just get around the maps faster. You could probably still just use normal leap slam though. Like in leveling, we don't really need this still. We can just use normal leap slam. Um, So if you really want to just use normal leap stun, feel free to use that instead of leap stun groundbreaking as well. Um, Up to you. If you can afford leap stun groundbreaking already. Uh, we have Blade Storm, Maim, more duration, War Banner, so that we can maim. Same thing as we have in our endgame setup. Vulnerability, Vitality. We do go off Herald of Purity now, and we switch to Pride, EB, Eternal Blessing. We have our Steel Skin, Blood Rage, and Automation set up. We can keep our Automation to level 1 and our Blood Rage to level 1 if we don't have the Dex and Int quite yet. Int right now we mostly just need for vulnerability. Enduring Cry, Urgent Orders, Frost Blink. You don't level your Frost Blink until you have enough Int, so don't do that. We still have our Wolves. We're gonna keep having Wolves. It'll help you clear maps so much faster. At this point, we add a Venopuncture in for damage or bleeding and chance to cause bleeding on hit. Sorry. We still have our Gold Rin, still have Thousand Ribbons, still have Belt of the Deceiver. Now we also have an immunity to bleeding and corrupted blood in our flasks. You should get that earlier if you can, but I wouldn't recommend putting Venopuncture on without this yet because you will get chilled, and chilled sucks. So, yeah. Rest of your gear, just grab some rares, help cap your resists, help cap your int requirements or dex requirements, flasks, quicksilver, maybe two quicksilvers, put on two quicksilvers for movement speed, get through maps faster, quicksilver 1, quicksilver 2, and then maybe freeze flask here. Um, yeah, so it's pretty good damage so far. We're just leveling. After Crow Lab, we're gonna go to a Merc Lab, and from here, we can even start wearing our mapping gear from here on out. So we're just gonna put on, because this equipment will carry you for a while. Like having these will carry you until you finish the game. And then after Merc Lab, and you can start putting on real equipment now and start getting in the real maps afterwards. So we'll see our tree has updated. This is a level 82 tree from Merc Lab. You don't need any of these rules. Like these rules you can leave empty. You just need, yeah, as long as you have like the jewels help for some damage, but having a jewel that gives you phys damage over time and life, that's all you really need on your jewels. So yeah, around this time we get out as soon as you finish maps, or sorry, not maps, as soon as you finish the campaign, get out of 7 League Steps, put on Tempest Rising. Tempest Rising has the line that says damaging ailments deal damage faster and increase duration of ailments and enemies, and the most important one is enemies in your presence count as moving while affected by elemental ailments. That is the most important part. Venopuncture automatically applies chilled to enemies we hit that are bleeding, right? So we want to have the Venopuncture for sure. Um, that lets us get out of aggravated of jagged technique, and it lets us put on more than skill after Crow Lab. After that, you can pretty much start running maps from here on out, because you will have max block already. Uh, and with this skill tree, you should have max block already because you're gonna grab deflection, you're gonna block mastery here, you're gonna grab block as the mountain here, and you're gonna grab um, aggressive bastion. You could put on a delight of meaning already as well. Delight of meaning is really cheap. I think, yeah, Venopuncture is 1C here, so light of meaning. You could put on a light of meaning with increased physical damage. And yeah, that's only like one divine, so you're not really breaking the bank, especially because of how cheap divines are now currently in this league. Um, so yeah, like this alone gives you so much damage. Like as you can see, our damage here is 3.6 if we take this out. Like it's like a third of our damage. So make sure to get this when you can. It's only one divine. Our items to start out. We are going to have a Jack the Axe. This is probably one of the best axes you can get early game until you can start affording the more expensive versions of the build. Jack the Axe is super cheap as well, as you can see here. Only 4 divines if you get a corrupted one with 357 PDPS, but you don't even need one of those. You can get a 300 DPS one right here for 3 chaos. That's all you need. This will carry you all the way to T16s. Yeah, just keep running this T16s. You can keep using this in T16s, save up some money, or and then from there you can go on. Um, yeah, and then we have just a shield here. The rest of our gear, life. recover percent of life when you block. I don't. That's not expensive. You could even reduce the life on your shield until you get one that's within your budget. Helmet, we do int max life. You could do the exarch influence. You don't have to do the exarch influence, but you just need int max life. Those are the two most important nodes. The rest you put on res. Same here with our chest piece. Melee hits fortify, increase global physical damage, life, res. Um, I only added life on all the rares, and I did this, right? For the custom modifiers while leveling. And the reason I did that is because I want you to figure out where you want to grab your own resists. If you have res here, then maybe you need less res here or more res here, less res here, more res here, etc., etc. So the only thing that I would say is a mandatory requirement is this: get an amethyst ring that has chaos res, life, and chaos res, and then I would say cap out the rest of your resist through the ring, because let's see, where is this ring? Because then you could do the prismatic catalysts once you have some currency, and then that'll help bring your chaos res even further up. So yeah, our tree will look like this. As I mentioned, we now go into a unwavering stance since we're now blocking. Yeah, pretty straightforward. All right, going into our Uber Lab and potential Area 50 div budget, we are now going to switch to this version of the tree. As you can see, I spec out of these nodes and I anoint my ashes with endurance so that I can maintain this +1 endurance charge. We grab War of Attrition, which says we deal 1% more damage the longer they're up in our presence. So when we're doing Ubers, we can start, or not even just Ubers, just regular bosses, you can start putting enemy in your presence duration. It goes up to 100, and at 100, it pretty much like doubles our damage, more than doubles our damage. So that's the value of War of Attrition. Our gear is mostly the same. We are just adding our flasks here. We now have flasks. We have more jewels. Potentially, if you can afford to get one with damaging elements deal damage faster, I would recommend that. That's an extra 2 million damage. We also now have an axe like this. This axe is anywhere from 25, 20 to 30 divines. So this is probably the bulk of your expenses for the 50 div budget build version of the build. We do still have Venopuncture and we still have Tempest Rising. We use Brand King and Garokhan for reduced effective shock and cannot be frozen and reduced effective chill. Um, we can grab this as early like prior to buying the other axe. We can do this while still using a Jack the Axe. This is a level 95 version of the build, and for level 100 you would just go into that and get more damage. But yeah, this is the Cruel Lab version, or not the Cruel Lab, sorry, the Uber Lab version and 50 div budget version. Yeah, just get clusters, battle hardened, master the fundamentals, help cap res, more damage. If you can afford one with +3 all attributes, you can do the one. Get a life gain on hit while affected by vitality and phys damage while using pride. Watcher's Eye, that's 7 divs. Yeah, so that's probably what we're gonna do for our next upgrades. Maybe at 30 quality, Ashes of the Star, it goes from 20 chaos to 4 divines, 3 divines. So yeah, and I will do the end game no suppression version of the build. You guys have seen this one. We can turn this off and you can see I'm still max fire res, and that's because of the tattoos over here. For we get 4 for +6 fire res. We can put this back on. I am over res cap here by a significant amount again because of harvest and the blue quant. I do a lot of blue quant altars, and that one has -60% and -6 cold and lightning res. So we want to make sure that we're overcapped regardless. While we're taking those, so that's like a lot of quant. We officially get out of War of Attrition and go back into Jagged Technique. But we only do that after we switch off of the Venopuncture and the Tempest Rising. And we don't get to switch out of the Tempest Rising until we can switch out of the Venopuncture, and we can switch out of the Venopuncture by getting a ring that has a synthesized +1 to maximum endurance charge implicit. Um, the reason we need one of those is because with one we can dupe it with the Calandra's Touch. Calandra's Touch is like 8 divines, so this is getting more expensive. This base, when I bought it, was about 150 divines flat, and we know how to craft this because of the it's in the video that I showed you guys last week on how to craft it. Essentially, you just spam essence with damage over time multiplier until you get cold res, and then you're going to do reforge chaos. Suffixes cannot be changed. Reforge chaos. Hope you get T1 chaos res. Repeat until you get T1 chaos res. Suffixes cannot be changed. Reforge life until you get flat life. Craft mana, slam, hope for phys damage attacks, craft that increased damage, right? Um, yeah, so that's what we're going to do with that. Um, rest of the gear hasn't really changed aside from the new axe that we've already gone over. Again, progenesis by progenesis. Yeah, so this is now we're going to look at the spell suppression version of the build. So our effective hit pool without spell suppression is 192,000. This is without steel skin as well. If you put on our steel skin, our effective hit pool goes to 252, which is quite nice. And now with the end game with suppression version of the build, skill gems hasn't changed. Skill gems are exactly the same. This is our EHP without steel skin is 214 and it's 286 with steel skin. So it is a significant upgrade, but the problem is, of course, like we do have a little bit less life and it is a little bit harder to gear. So first we to get the dot cap, we need to get 2 Katava warriors to meet dot cap. We it's also a little bit more expensive because now we will need suppress on every single piece of gear. So we lose the res. We're no longer at 80 res and 79 all. We have to lose our +2 all res or max res on our shield. We don't have we can still get it on the conquest similar, I guess, on our chest piece. We can still get +2 for more life. You will need to get the plus 20% physical damage over time multiplier. You're gonna have to get it in order to still be at dot cap along with the tattoos. Our amulet has changed. It'll be harder to get an amulet like this. It's a lot more expensive compared to the ashes. We will need one with Dex Int and all attributes. You'll need +1 level of all skill gems, +1 level of physical skill gems. We're going to need the res to be res capped. We're going to need damage over time multiplier just so we can meet the same amount of damage that we were getting from the ashes. Let's see. The ring hasn't changed, flasks haven't changed, and the jewels haven't changed. Oh, sorry, I guess I should go over why we grabbed the forbidden jewels. The forbidden flame and forbidden flesh jewels, that's the same as well in the no suppress build. That gives us Bane of Legends, which lets us run reflect maps and it lets us do 20% more damage to enemies. So we should get that as well. But those are a bit more expensive. It's like a total of 30 to 40 divines depending on the day. So yeah, the other change with the suppression build is we path out of here, and we do need to get crit reduction from here again. The chest piece will have the same except now it'll also have spell suppress. We go into iron reflexes because there's no reason for us to not grab it when we're grabbing a mirroring stance because we can't evade anyway. So let's see, what else do we need? Yeah, we have to come up to here to get the rest of our spell suppress because otherwise we're not suppress capped. And we will need to come get these jewel sockets or this jewel socket so that we can put on our jewel. We do have less life, but our effective hit pool is a lot more, which is pretty good. So yeah, that's the big change. This is the suppressed version of the build. I tried to do a mage blood version of the build, guys. I could not justify it. Like our effective hit pool goes up to 300,000 with a mage blood, but we also lose a third of our damage, like 40% to be honest. Because once you drop Rizlatas, you can see how much damage we lose with our bleed. It's like 33%. So it's just not worth it in my opinion. Yeah, I would just keep the Rizlatas version of the build. So yeah, this is the bleed version. This is the suppressed version, no suppressed version. Dot cap on both. Yeah. Good luck. Bye bye.